YNW Melly's lawyers filed a huge motion to dismiss YNW Melly's case. It begins reading, in the 10-page list of dismissal motion, it includes that Detective Mark Moretti gave a warrant to Melly's mother, Jamie King, and confiscated her cell phone with excessive force illegally outside of his jurisdiction. The motion also makes the claim that the prosecution allegedly hid info regarding Detective Moretti, asking a Broward sheriff's officer to lie on his behalf, which leads to claims of Moretti committing a robbery against Jamie King, then ending in the motion filed by Jamie Benjamin, Melly's defense requests that the state's plans to present witnesses in the argument based on the agreement between Melly and late Sack Chaser to share or split all of the money that he made in Melly's career, and no motive as to why Melly would do this to his two best friends. It is referenced as hearsay. As stated by Bryson Paul on Twitter, the ask is the defense asking the judge to dismiss the indictment altogether, which would mean that Melly would no longer face these double charges, not ever. If double jeopardy has attached, if the judge grants the motion, then he will be home. Now, this is all due to Mark Moretti versus YNW Melly's mother, as explained here.
So Melly's team is saying they just found out in August, like last month, that Detective Moretti was under investigation for an incident involving use of excessive force against a potential witness. And that witness is Jamie King, aka Melly's mom. According to this motion, Detective Moretti, Jamie King, and 3 other people, including a Broward Sheriff's Office sergeant, were in a conference room when Moretti was taking Jamie's statement. At some point during taking that statement, the sergeant in the room steps out. And during that time, it's alleged that Detective Moretti executed a search warrant, which he didn't have the ability to do, and forcibly took the phone from Jamie King. And then when another sergeant came to the conference room, Detective Moretti told that sergeant to say that he was in the room the whole time when the phone was taken. From there, it's alleged that Moretti and the state attorney's office were willing to lie to cover this entire situation up.
To understand this fully, we need to dive deeper into Jamie King's complaint against Detective Moretti. Mark went after YNW Melly's mother in a serious way. It reads, "We received a complaint by an attorney representing Jamie King. King is the mother of Jamel Demmons, the given name of YNW Melly. YNW Melly's lawyers filed a motion in his case seeking Brady material against the detective. Brady material refers to information that could be used to question the integrity of law enforcement officers who testify in criminal cases." As it continues reading, details about the encounter between Melly's mother and Moretti were not available Thursday with one exception. While the incident took place on October 12th, the complaint was not filed until this month, as YNW Melly's mother was called in for an interrogation by Detective Moretti. Moretti wanted YNW Melly's mother's cell phone for evidence against Melly. However, she was not giving it up, causing Moretti to try grabbing it from out of her hands, causing her to have a hand injury. As 7 months ago, Jamie King and YNW B-Slime were on a No Jumper podcast, where Jamie King could be seen with a cast around her hand. Adam22 asks her what happened. She mentions that a police officer was responsible for it. However, she did not want to get into full detail, as she wanted to use it to try to help YNW Melly inside of his court case, and she did hint that it was a Broward sheriff's officer. She is likely now making it public due to YNW Melly being denied bail this week, as the court hearing began with the judge speaking to YNW Melly's lawyers in the prosecution.
I was back on the record, please. The state of Florida versus Demmons, President Lieutenant Demmons is counsel, is the state attorney. Yes, so you're indicating you want me to roll this for sometime next week?
Yes, for a calendar call for Wednesday before it's available.
And that's fine. Just want to remind defense counsel that trial in this courtroom, so we won't know at a time.
It should take 2 seconds.
Okay.
Thank
Put it
you.
up for Wednesday, please.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right.
as the camera cuts off right when the judge announces that his bond will be denied. Thankfully, Bryson Paul was inside of the courtroom, and he would report Judge Murphy has officially denied bail leading into his retrial, which begins jury selection on October 9th. In an official order, Judge Murphy issued the following. After careful consideration, this court finds that the state has met its burden of demonstrating that the proof of guilt is evident and the presumption of guilt is great. The jurors' inability to reach a unanimous verdict does not alter the nation or weight of the evidence of the defendant's guilt. Now, once learning this information, YNW Melly looked defeated inside of the courtroom as the judge basically just said, in an easy way, YNW Melly's guilty, the prosecution just had a hard time of making it clear, and the jurors didn't want to agree on one thing. YNW Melly would then be seen standing up, walking straight out of the courtroom until his mother told him to smile. As YNW Melly's mother, Jamie King, tells him to keep standing tall. She would even post to her Instagram, "Nothing will stop my faith, not even this. Bond was denied." However, the most interesting part was found through an amazing source who noticed that YNW Bortland was attending Melly's hearing.
And the second thing is YNW Bortland attended today's hearing via Zoom. You see him right there. Which a few weeks ago, the question was raised if Melly's retrial in October would include YNW Bortland, and this is making me think that it will. So we'll see what happens.
Which then raises the question of, is YNW Melly and Bortland gonna be getting tried together in his upcoming retrial, which has been announced to be a terrible thing, as explained by this lawyer.
Issue here, and you can try them together. It is to the benefit of the state to try them together. It just more efficient. You don't have to do things again and again. Do it all at once, and also you get a better chance of having them incriminate each other during the trial. It benefits the defense to sever it. That way they can point the finger at each other and get away with it. So this is what's going on. But I don't think it should be automatically severed because the state is seeking a penalty for Melly, because it's only the penalty phase of the trial that would be different, not the guilt phase. The guilt phase is the same. They're both capital crimes. You're seeking the penalty on one, not the other, but that goes into the second part of the trial, the penalty phase, only if Melly is found guilty.
As them being tried together is very interesting, especially when you look deep into why YNW Melly was truly denied bail, as it begins with YNW Juvie's mother telling the judge why YNW Melly should not receive a bond out of jail until his retrial is over.
Ms. Phillips, you were the mother of Christopher Thomas?
Yes, ma'am.
And what are your thoughts or opinion on Jamel Demons receiving a bond in the of your son?
I don't think he should receive a bond, but I do know that he's innocent until proven guilty. But these are some serious accusations against him. So, and I understand he has money and don't want anything, nothing to happen to me or my family. So I don't think that he should be granted a bond at all.
Thank you, Ms. Phillips.
It is hard to hear what she said, but she stated, and I quote, "I do not think he should receive a bond. I do know that he is innocent until proven guilty. However, there are serious accusations against him, and he has money. I don't want anything to happen to me or my family. I do not think he should receive a bond at all." To which YNW Melly's lawyers would then object to what she said.
I have, again, I would object to the court even considering the statements of people that even the state has no idea where they are. We have, as I brought up several times, prior to the trial, during the trial, we have attempted to subpoena those people for deposition numerous times, most of them. And there's a material witness bond as we speak on Mariah Hamilton. They don't know where she is.
as Melly's lawyer made the point of if YNW Melly gets released and has all of his money to him, why would he want revenge against these witnesses in this case? And that Melly has no idea where these people are. Many believe it's a weak objection, but if you remember what these witnesses did to YNW Melly's mother during trial, you would think otherwise. As it all began with YNW Juvie's sister reaching out to Melly's mother on social media.
Did start off earlier with the defense bringing up an issue. Apparently, Juvie's sister posted on, I guess, one of the social media outlets, and she said that she was going to Jamie King, and so that caused a big, issue in the courtroom. It wasn't anything that we got on tape, but it did happen this morning. It was on the record, and she has a bodyguard now. So that was one of the first issues that the court dealt with this morning, and it was interesting because the judge did basically say, if you needed more security, I can get it for you.
Shout out to Reddit, because we had to do some digging to find the sister. Now, this is the sister, Ashley Monique. And let me show you the post that she had posted on Facebook, because, honey, it was quite the stir. So she posted this screenshot from Jamie King, YNW Melly's mother, and she said, "Pest control, who called about it?" Now, that was in regards to a post made by Trayvon Glass on his Instagram page, where he basically said that he's not worried about anything, and if he's come him. So in a nutshell, Melly's mom is calling Trayvon Glass a, and Monique replied back and says, "A is when you do something wrong and not take responsibility and then go and set somebody up because you're scared to lay down." She goes on to say, "That's not the case here. Fetty was Juvie's friend, not Melly. He was only around because Juvie brought him." Now in the comments, somebody says she better find something safe to do. Another person replied back and says, "Very well said." Another person tagged Jamie, and somebody else said, "Come get." Now, Ashley was in the comments and says, "She even has a bodyguard, child." Another person replied and says, "Yeah, she need one because she's talking like she's 200 pounds and she ain't even pushing 100. Now, somebody else posted this and says, "She's going to need them because she in the wrong city talking." Now, I think that when Melly's defense attorneys found this, they submitted it over to the judge and basically was like, Juvie's sister's out here Melly's mom. Now, the judge did state that if Melly's mom needed security, he would issue her security, and then he found out that she had a bodyguard, and that would be sufficient enough.
As it was so bad, Melly would be seen the next day in court asking her if she's okay.
Sorry.
We'll just. Don't do it.
YNW Melly was so worried, the following day, Melly made his lawyers put a request in for Jamie King to have 24/7 security with her at all times. Thankfully, it was accepted, and even rap OG Boosie would share how bad of a situation it was for Melly's mother.
Okay, so
then I met his mama while he was in.
Oh, okay.
I met his mom while he was in, and she real, bro. You know, she real.
She's stressed out. I heard she had a.
Yeah, she real, and I reached my hand out to him, cause I'm real. Yeah, I reached out to him, bro. I met his mom, and she a good woman, bro. And when I see them mamas like that, it remind me of what my mom was going through, bro.
As there is definitely a reason as to why YNW Melly probably does want some sort of revenge against these witnesses if he is released. However, this is where things get even more interesting, as it now makes a lot of sense as to why YNW Melly fired his original lawyer, being David Howard. If YNW Melly and Bortland are getting tried at the same time, Bortland wants nothing to do with David Howard. During Melly's original trial, David Howard was trying to put all of the evidence against YNW Bortland. Bortland didn't appreciate what he was doing at all. 15 minutes into day one of Melly's trial, David Howard announced this about YNW Bortland.
Demon's lies, those were his lies. Cortland Henry shows up at Memorial Hospital, Miramar. You don't see him sitting there, but where you will see him sitting is in the driver's seat of a car with two bodies, car riddled with, and when he shows up with a change of clothing, change of shirt, powder residue on his hands, evidencing that he had discharged a firearm. And he lies. He lies about where the incident occurred. He lies about how it occurred. And he lies about not having a phone. I think it was Miss Bradley herself who said, everybody has a phone in his pocket. Not Cortland Henry. There were 3 phones.
Revealing that it's always been YNW Bortland that was telling lies to the feds. He was the one with powder residue on his hands, and that he was the last one with Juvie and Sack Chaser when they sadly passed. Even bringing up a forensic scientist that covered the passings to go into further detail about Bortland having powder residue on his hands.
So the right hand of Cortland Henry contained 0 particles characteristic of residue and 2 two-component particles, and the left hand contained 1 particle characteristic of residue and 1 two-component particle.
Okay. And can you explain to us what that means?
Basically, overall, there was residue present on the hands.
YNW Bortland did not like this at all. This is why when Melly's mistrial was granted, YNW Bortland tweets a mysterious message on the same day Melly's mistrial was declared, with the tweet sharing, "Mind games don't work on people like me," alongside a handshake emoji as if he's accepting some sort of deal. As maybe with YNW Melly firing David Howard, he's hinting towards them both being tried together, which is going to make things extremely awkward when Sergeant Williams would reveal after investigating the vehicle, he stated in the original trial there's no way this could have been a drive-by.
Assignment, which is to determine if this is a drive. And my determination was that this is not a drive-by. And it's based upon this picture here, which is a very good picture to describe it. All of these rounds are done, one is done at a stationary position. At a stationary position when all but one of these rounds are going in. The one round that has some movement in it, which is round site L here, the actually moving in that to create the little bit of a that you see there.
Okay, a lot of information in that answer, so let's break it down a little bit. You mentioned so I'm going to zoom in on site F. Number, you said 17 outside the car. How many rounds were inside of the car?
3.
And can you exclude the for Mr. Williams and Mr. Thomas as coming from outside of the car?
Yes. From the driver's side back seat.
As to the shot that Christopher Thomas, where did that emanate from?
Driver's side back seat.
Okay. Is it possible for there to have been 2 inside that car?
No.
Why not?
There is no time.